Hi everyone, welcome to my channel and welcome to another art class. This one is going to be about a very famous artist called Albrecht Dürer. As usual, I will start with an introduction about the artist, then I will share some of his drawings, some of his works to inspire us for what we are going to do. Then I will present you the exercises followed by a demonstration. So, if you're interested in knowing how to draw pillows like Albrecht Dürer, stay tuned and get your cross-hatching skills ready because they're going to be needed. Albrecht Dürer, born in 1471 and he died in 1528, and he was a German Renaissance artist known for his extraordinary precision, intellectual curiosity, and mastery of drawing. He trained as a goldsmith, and a goldsmith is someone who works with precious metals like golds and makes jewelry and that kind of stuff. So he was trained as a goldsmith before becoming a painter and printmaker, and he developed an exceptional control of line, perhaps because of this precision of being a goldsmith. He developed an exceptional control of line that made his engravings and pen drawings remarkably detailed and expressive. Dürer was deeply interested in proportion, perspective, and the study of nature, combining Northern European realism with the ideas that he encountered during his travels to Italy. His works reflect both his scientific observation and artistic sensitivity, making him one of the most influential draftsmen in Western art history. Now, a curiosity: he was one of the first artists to understand the power of printmaking as a way of building an international reputation. Through his engravings and woodcuts, his work traveled across Europe, making him very famous beyond Germany. Later in his career, Dürer became deeply engaged with mathematics and wrote theoretical books on proportion and perspective, showing that for him, art was not only about beauty, but it was also about knowledge and structure. Now let's have a look at some of his drawings. When we look at Dürer's drawings, especially his studies of arms, hands, feet, and drapery, what stands out is not just the detail, but the clarity of structure. He isn't simply outlining forms, he's building them through line. Notice how his cross-hatching follows the direction of the volume. The lines curve around the arm, wrap around the knuckles, flow along the folds of fabric. The shadows are constructed patiently, layer by layer, never random. Every stroke has intention. Through controlled hatching, it transforms flat paper into something almost sculptural, as if the body and the fabric are slowly emerging from the page. And here's a reference that I wanted to show you. This is the same sheet of paper, front and back, and it's called Study Sheet with Self-Portrait and Cushions, made in 1493. And it shows a young Dürer using the page as a space for investigation. It's not a finished composition, but a study of different forms and materials. The self-portrait reveals his early seriousness about structure and identity. The hands carefully analyzed with cross-hatching that wraps around the fingers to describe volume and bone. Then the cushions, or pillows, introduce something different: softness, weight, and gravity. Unlike the firmness of the hand, the fabric collapses and expands. Here we see Dürer studying pressure, how stuffing pushes outward, how corners compress, how folds radiate from points of tension. The hatching becomes denser in compressed areas and lighter where the surface inflates. Even in something as humble as a cushion, he investigates form with sculptural seriousness. Now I'm going to present you the exercises, and they will take about 45 minutes maximum. The first one is just a few minutes to practice cross-hatching. You can create a scale of tones, practice your mark making. And then the second exercise is to copy one of his pillows, and it will take about 20 minutes, and you can use a grid to make a more accurate drawing. I have a full video about the power of using grids and how this method of using grids can help you making more accurate drawings. I will leave the link in the description in case you are interested. And the third exercise is to draw a pillow from observation. So grab one of yours and start by drawing the overall shape, then map the tones, and then start adding layers of hatching and cross-hatching to build tone. Now I'm going to make a demonstration to see how all of this applies in practice. I have a video called Cross-Hatching Explained, where I explain what cross-hatching is, common mistakes, and how to fix them. So if you're interested in learning more about cross-hatching, feel free to check out the link in the description. On the first exercise, we're going to practice cross-hatching, and we are going to start with some hatching, which is basically like this. You can draw vertical lines, diagonals, to warm up your hand, your wrist. You can also make curved lines and then start the cross-hatching. That is adding another layer of lines on top of another one. Our warm-up is finished, and as you can see, I made a wide variety of marks, trying to think about drapery and the orientation of the lines. It's going to be important for the next exercises. For the second exercise, I'm going to use an A6 sheet of paper, and as you can see, I have drawn a grid so I can make a drawing that is more accurate. And this is the drawing reference that I'm going to use. It's one of the Dürer's pillow, and I added a grid like this one on top of it, so I make a more accurate drawing. First, I am going to draw the overall shape with a pencil, and then I will use a pen. This is the overall shape. Now I'm going to map some of the folds to guide me. With the grid, this is much easier because I can look at the rectangles to guide me. And now I'm going to start adding layers of hatching and cross-hatching, and I'm going to use a brown pen. Pay attention to the direction of the lines in order to create this effect of the folds. It's very important. It's very easy for one to get confused. I have to pay attention not to start making lines that are not there. But it's very challenging. That's why the grid helps, but even though I think it can get messy very quickly. When you want to make darker areas, you add more layers of lines. Now I'm adding these extra lines to give a little bit more context to the drawing. And here is the final result. I erased the pencil marks that I add and the grid, and here's the Dürer's cushion. As you can see, there is a wide variety of marks. The lines always follow the folds of the fabric. Pay attention to that. That is very important to make these curved lines, these straight lines. It's very important to have that in mind. And now I think that we are ready for the last exercise. Alright, this is my reference photo that I took of my cushion, and I'm going to start by drawing the overall shape as I did in the previous exercise. This time I'm not using a grid. I'm just trusting my observation skills. Now I'm going to map the folds so it's easier when I start the cross hatching. I can also make some guidelines to understand the volume. As if you are like drawing a grid on the cushion. Okay, I have my draft, and now I'm going to start using the pen. Remember that your lines have to follow the form. And now I am adding some lines to the background. And here is my cushion. As you can see, I also try to use several types of lines and always trying to follow the forms of the fabric. And here is my pillow next to Dürer's pillow. I think this is a very, very good exercise. Everyone can do it at home. You have plenty of cushions, I'm sure, so Just grab one of them and practice this type of exercise. As I mentioned before, I have a full video about cross-hatching, so if you're interested in knowing more about this technique, feel free to check out the link in the description. So as you can see, something as simple as a pillow can become your subject, can become your inspiration to develop your drawing skills. You can use this exercise to practice when you are watching your favorite show on your couch. It's very simple. You just have to put a pillow in front of you, grab your sketchbook, a pen or pencil, and draw from observation. I hope you enjoyed this video. If so, click the like button below. Let me know in the comments if you're going to turn this exercise into something regular in your practice. And if you want to keep watching more art classes like this or other videos related with drawing or art history, feel free to subscribe my channel so you don't miss anything. Thank you so much for watching and see you in the next video.